andito tayo sa pinakahuling episode ng online course. At naisip ko na imbitahin ang aking mga kaibigan na direktor, tsaka mga actors, kasama yung mga participants, para pag-usapan yung, I guess, yung susunod na phase, no, ng pagsusulat, no, ng isang dula. Kasi, gaya nga sabi ko, hindi natatapos yung pagsusulat ng dula sa first draft. No? Kailangan itong dumaan sa isang produksyon dahil yun naman talaga ang biggest objective ng isang script. Right? It's not for publishing, pwedeng for publishing, pero ang talagang final end all nito ay maipalabas. And so therefore, kakailanganin nito yung tulong ng mga direktor at mga actors. So inimbita ko yung aking mga kaibigan, si Maribel, si JK, at saka si Chris, na pawang mga kilala sa larangan ng pagdidirect ng dula. At saka mga kilala ring artista sa teatro at sa pelikula, si Angeli at saka si Ross. Welcome. Magandang araw sa inyo. At narito rin yung mga participants, no? Si Maynard, si Jamie, tsaka si Ding Dong. Ilan sila sa mga participants na dumaan, sumama sa akin dun sa buong journey. So ito yung pinag-uusapan natin, no? So kaya namin kayo inimbita. Siyempre, marami sa mga nagsisimulang playwrights, pag nasulat na nila yung kanilang play, hindi na nila alam kung saan pupunta, anong gagawin. Gusto kong tanong yan, ano ba yung una kayo as directors and also as actors? Ano ba yung hinahanap ninyo sa new original work? What will excite you? Not only in terms of topic, but also in terms of siguro style, style of writing, language, etc. Baka doon tayo magsimula.
Actually, I've been quite fortunate dahil hindi script yung natatanggap ko, idea pa lang.
Aha.
So, hindi pa nga nakasulat yung script. Parang binobroach na sa akin kung anong may kwento. No? So, even from the development of the idea or the story, meron ng collaboration. And that's exciting to me dahil early on, even before words are put down on paper, meron na kaagad engagement with the director. So, somehow melded na yung vision ng dalawang
Right from the
major
beginning.
collaborations from them. And I've been very lucky dahil I've been working with playwrights who are very open to that kind of process. So,
Because you're also a playwright.
yes.
Din,
So, ayun din, nakakatulong din siguro dahil naiintindihan ko rin kung anong dinadaanan na proseso ng isang mandudula or manunula. Kaya, going back to your question, what excites me to begin with a story is it's offering something important. Kasi sayang naman yung ilang buwan or minsan isang taon na development kung wala namang ibig sabihin gusto mong gawin. So at the very first, it needs to say something important. And personally, you should have like a certain personal engagement with the story. Meron kang stake doon. Somehow it touches a certain core of your beliefs or even emotions or even your own personal stories na nakikita mo kung anong may ambag mo doon. At I guess as a director, as a storyteller, importante that you commit to that story early on.
Or you can also reverse the process, ano? Kasi sa kanya nagsimula hindi pa nasusulat, ano. Maaaring yung parang the script falls on your lap and you read it and
So, ang work ko as a theater director, mostly mga devised new works. So, ang pagtingin ko sa text o sa script ay isa lamang sa mga devices ng performance. Pero may mga palabas din, tulad na kunwari sa Virgin Lapres, ibibigay sa yung script na yun yung end all nun. So, for me, kapag nagbabasa ako ng script na nagawa na o tapos na, may hinahanap ako dalawang bagay. Isa yung everydayness ng representation. Ang background ko ay isa akong trained actor at nangyari yung history, kung ano man. Tapos may mga theatrical truths kasi na meron tayong mga habits na na-develop sa theater na parang, ito, mga magnanimous truth na ito. To the point na parang, parang tayo pa, nagpalit na tayo ng mga metaphors nowadays. Nagpalit na rin yung performance natin ng identity, pamamaraan ng pagsasalita. Nagpalit na rin yung psyche ng maraming mga tao. So, as a contemporary performance maker, yun yung hinahanap ko, yung sense ng everydayness. Ng
Yung present day, you mean.
Kung ganun yung, kung yun yung milieu o yun yung setting ng palabas. Pangalawa, point of view o points of view. Ngayon mas interesado ako sa idea ng plural, may plurality sa meaning making. At saan ako pwedeng pumasok doon? May gap ba na binibigay yung script para pwedeng pumick up doon? May anong point of view na ngayon ko lang narinig o ngayon ko lang ngayon lang may nag-articulate for me o para sa maraming mga audiences. So yun yung nahanap ko. Kasi otherwise parang kung naramdaman ko na to o na sabi ko na or parang okay na tayo doon. Well, ang treatment ko kasi sa script, kapag may script sa ganung proseso, literature siya for me muna. So, yun naman, stubborn ako as a director, hindi ako nag-i-edit ng literature. So, ang ginagawa ko, alam yun ng mga playwrights, isi-stage ko muna siya kung one act. Hanggat maaari, hindi ko muna matigas ang ulo ko din, na sige, papanagutan natin yung text. At bihirin ka ng directors. Kasi sometimes, yung mga directors, i-edit na nila to begin with kasi yung perceive nila na materialization ay iba. So, may mga directors tulad ko naman na, sige, i-lift muna natin from the page. Tignan muna natin, lagyan natin ng ibang elemento, dagdagan ng ibang point of view. Pero importante, na merong, kumbaga parang isang bahay, di ba? Na isa siyang bintana, nagbubukas na siya. Tapos na pwede ko rin pwedeng pasukan ng designer. So yun, may mga gaps na pwede naming pasukan.
Sa PETA kasi, more often that is commissioned work, no? So, ibig sabihin, we already had a discussion with the writer kung ano man yung play na yon, anong dapat content. I mean, PETA is very content heavy, content driven. I think yung ano, so when I read the script, but to me, I guess it doesn't really matter. If I read the script, it's always, ano ba yung kwento? What's the narrative? Is it new? Is it interesting? Does it interest me in whatsoever? Like, if like after the third page, I'm already snooze fest or, ano ba ite? Yung ganon.
Third page.
Third, no, but I'm good
Oh, pressure.
I'm good I read to the very end.
Okay.
Pero, I read to the very, as you remember Soxy telling me before, ay nako, wag mo nang tapusin lahat yan. Pag page 3, page 4, ganyan, ayaw mo na, ibaba mo na yung script. I still finish it, but yung tempo niya or yung feels niya, you know, it's like about 3, 4 pages you can, So, for me, it's important that something excites me. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as I'm reading, I see images. I need to see images. Kasi, director ako, di ba? So, ang ano namin is to visualize.
So, what has
page.
excited you in some previous plays that you've read?
No, when I read your Kapatiran, I liked it. Just to be as immediate as possible.
Kasi naging leader siya sa Virgin Love Fest one
And it
time.
was, I think, during the time that I read na yung play niya. So, siya yung one of the few. Hindi. Yung pag binasa mo, na-engage ka, yung ganon. Ako, mababaw lang naman ako. I mean, I like funny scripts. I like, or, yeah, sort of real. I mean, kung stylized. I mean, pero, it's got to be always, for me, rooted in reality. I don't like reading plays when I read na parang ni-research ba to? I mean, dapat grounded siya, rooted siya in kind of a truth and reality that's, and it's, of course, I'm always looking for the content. What does the playwright want to say? And do I agree with it, or will PETA, because I'm artistic director for PETA, will PETA agree with this point of view? And that's really very important for us right there. I love working with original work. I do all my life. I think that's really what I know how to do, because the journey is great. You journey together with the writer and you don't know what's gonna happen. That's what I love. It's like either ako dalawang bagay lang. Either ang gagawin ko pangit o maganda. Kasi in between is mediocre and that's forgettable. So I'd rather be extremely pangit or maganda. Kasi, you know what I mean? So, for me, ang ganda
Para
ng
pag-usapan.
journey. Oo, para ginalait ka sa back. Pero friendly sa harap. So, and I just think that that's the best part about original work. Kasi you don't know really, kahit kung we were discussing in the car on the way here, sabi ko talaga, importante sa akin. For I'm not a great, my Tagalog isn't great, but so for me, it's more important when we read. I love reading and I hear the actors. Kasi for me, that will set a kind of rhythm. You can see the quality of the words and the language that they write. And you need to hear it because at the end of the day, it's a performance, right? But for me, because I'm gonna put it on stage, I need to hear that's the first way I wanna hear it, like as a cadence, a sound, how the words ring with each other. So, I mean, the use of words, to me, is also very, very important, the language. And yun na nga, can I visualize stuff as I'm reading? Do they turn into images? And yun.
Sa mga actors, of course, parang kumbaga, pag binigay sa yung script, parang ino-offer sa yung role, etc., etc. Ano yung hinahanap mo even before you say yes, di ba? Dun sa ano.
Ayun. Sa amin po kasi, baling training din namin is to read
The whole
play as
is, as a whole.
is. Yun, not from the point of view of the character, ganyan. Tapos, dun pa lang, if the story itself resonates with me, interesado na ako, regardless pa kung ano ba yan, kung lead ba o support or dadaan lang. If it's a good story, we want to do it.
Ano yung usually para sa iyo yung good story o yung nagre-resonate sa iyo parang wow, ano to?
Well, una, medyo siya, parang it has to be familiar but at the same time totally different.
No.
If that makes
Oo.
sense.
Same but different, sabi nga.
Parang in a way nakaka-relate ka, pero mas masarap kung wala siya sa karanasan ko. Yung gano'n, how interesting would this be? I think I understand it. Yung I think na maraming pwedeng gawin dito, pero wala siya sa karanasan ko, or wala pa ako nagagawang ganito. Yung mga ganun, and yun yung first na mga thoughts na pumapasok sa akin after reading something. And then, if it is saying something important, yun nga, tulad nga po na sinabi ni Sir Chris, if it's saying something important, and it could be the most ordinary story in the world, but if it's saying something important, then I want to do it.
Ikaw, Rose.
Well, sa akin naman po, bilang fairly bago pa naman po ako sa acting. Gusto ko po...
Di ba child star ka?
Yung mga plays na gusto kong gawin, for example, yung kunyari, binasa ko siya, tapos yung may isang character na nag-anchor ako doon, tapos pina-follow through ko yung story niya from beginning to end. Tapos, yung marami pa akong bagay na hindi alam, pero yung sobrang, parang wild and choices nung character throughout the story na hindi ko maisip yung, pwede pa lang mangyari to. So, pag may mga ganun akong nakita sa isang script, gagawin ko agad siya kasi it's totally new to me.
Teka. So, yung gusto namin yung natitake kami out of our comfort zone.
Yeah. Kasi kapag wala ka sa comfort zone mo, mas open ka into many possible choices pa. So,
Kasi sinasabi nyo something important that really strikes you. Ano yung sabihin nun? What is important to you as directors, as actors?
Can I begin? But,
sige.
Ako
Okay.
ng new articulation that is very distinct and very unique to the times. That's one.
So, political?
Pwedeng political o pwedeng, kasi kunwari, even ako as a gay man, for example, pakiramdam ko, hindi pa ako totally represented. How I speak, ano yung complexities ng identity ko online, at kung paano ko magsalita, nagko-coach if ako from Tagalog to English, yung mga ganong klase. So parang, kung may, ano nang bagong, after a long history ng ng meaning making sa theater. Ano na yung bagong sinasabi natin ngayon?
What is
What's
important? Yeah.
Importante for me now, sa panahon ngayon, especially specific to now, na marinig kung ano yung nasa kabilang side ng wall. Because most of the time, echo chamber, feeling ko, yun yung judgment to now, echo chamber tayo nagpa-perform. Or itong mga people na usually mag-agree sa sinasabi natin. Because they're the people who go to the theater. They're the people who na-train naman natin through the years. We educate them. But, may mga tao doon sa kabilang side ng wall na hindi ko marinig yung point of view. Or
Unconverted. Parang ganun.
converted or caricature na sila kapag dumarating sa atin. So yun yung hinahanap ko na. Hindi siya kasing simple na populist lang sila. Ang mga magulang, mga kamag-anak ko yan, mga kakilala mo yan, may something doon na feeling ko hindi ko pa naririnig. So ganun, parang yun yung challenge every time na parang outside dun sa comfort or outside dun sa alam na natin o mag-a-agree tayong lahat sa kwartong ito. Ano yung nandun sa kabilang side at kailangan makarating dito sa stage. Yun yung
Basically the same, no? Pag sinabing important, immediately, sa mga kwento natin, ano yung mga areas nga natin kasaysayan or kwentong bayan na parang hindi pa masyadong nalalaman ng karamihan. Kasi nakasulat na yung kasaysayan sa mga history books natin, pero ang daming gaps. And sometimes, point of views. No, kung minsan, nakwento na ng ilang beses, pero may isang bagong point of view, bagong angulo that will open up the whole situation and that will give us new lessons and new perspectives. To me, that's an important, that should be an important story to follow through. No? Sa mga personal naman na mga kwento, again, stories na parang invisible. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi parang araw-araw natin nakikita pero parang hindi natin nahalungkat ng maayos.
Parang walang boses tong...
Walang boses. In fact, I guess yung aking the voiceless characters have been appealing to me ever since. Even the first play I wrote, yung Juan at Baril, no? Practically that was it. Not giving a voice to what was rendered invisible then because they were underground. So somehow that has been appealing to me all throughout. The idea of looking for stories that give voice to the voiceless.
Sa akin naman, ngayon kasi parang ang prevalent ng pagiging judgmental ng mga tao. In social media, ganyan, yung kapag mabasa lang yung headline na kunyari, ganyan Duterte, ganyan, mag-judge agad yung mga tao. Yung importance naman sa akin ng isang script, ng isang dula ay para makita ng mga tao yung thought process ng mga characters na hindi basta, hindi mo sila i-judge face value na ganito sila manamit, ganito yung ano nila, ganito yung ginagawa nila. Yung para makita nila yung bakit ba nila ginawa? Bakit ba ginagawa yung certain action na yun? So yun lang yung ano ko, na makita nila yung reason behind every action.
Yeah.
Hindi
siya headline.
Hindi siya headline, hindi siya tip of the iceberg. Para makita nila yung kung ano yung
Saan?
mas
Pinagmumulan yun.
Pinagmumulan ng action.
Correct.
Can I add? Yun nga, yung parang, ano yung sinabi mo? Yung going deeper, I suppose, yung sobrang pinaliliit mo yung, I guess, under the microscope, yun yung important din sa akin, yung sobrang personal na feeling ng mga tao hindi importante na i-bring to light. Pero sometimes the smallest decisions we make kasi is dahil nagkaka-ripple effect siya, it affects the bigger picture. As you said, there's a voice outside the wall. There is walang black and white naman talaga. Diba? Walang black and white and I guess yun yung gusto din nating iparating, I suppose, na we have to see that nobody, sasabihin ko talaga, yung wala naman talagang totoong kontrabida, parang ganun. Wala naman talaga totoong kontrabida. Siguro sa tingin natin merong iba just because we don't agree with them. Pero if we get to see, yun nga, yung personal stuff behind their decisions. So then we will see na they're just human beings. I mean, everyone else is fallible and all that. And I think that's interesting
Right.
to write about and to talk about.
Ikaw? Ano?
We argue that point. No, because certain, I think basically it's that, no? I mean, I like Chris, like, and I, same, it should be something, stories of our times that are relevant and important. But I think what's important for, it's kasi, kumbaga, it's the way we tell stories, no? The choices that we make, the way sophisticated ba yung point of view sa pagkakwento, whether it's like that, no, really fleshing out everybody's motivation, so we see that, you know, we're all coming from a place of truth and not stereotype and flat characters. But I guess, and how that works out, no, who wins, who loses, or which of the arguments, because ako, naniniwala ako there has to be an argument that matters more. Parang ganun, parang we can't just all be blameless or we're just human, because all our actions have repercussions, and some repercussions are really, you know, very dangerous. I guess, ayoko rin namang, obviously, even, you know, I would like to make interesting theater, regardless whether we're content heavy or whatever. Pero so, yung sophistication ng writer, yung philosophies and ideas behind it, and then you can read it, I think, from his words, from his choices of scenes, or yung pagbangga ng mga bagay, doon mo makikita yung sophistication of thought rin ng writer. Kasi sometimes, I get to read this parang, yes, there's content, pero parang anipes, parang gusto mo sabihin, ay, iho, mag-aral ka pa. Or, i-expand mo yung real understanding mo. Yeah, yung worldview mo. So rich. Rich rin yung arguments inside, on both sides. Kasi, di ba, as writers, you're supposed to argue for both sides. Actually, that's what makes it rich. So, yun yung hinap-kahanap sana, yung that richness of argument that happens. Of course, I will go back to the new work. Sometimes, that also gets added on during rehearsals, di ba? Because that can also be something that, based on your work, the actors can either improvise on or expand, and then you guys come in and sort of clean it up because the actors have been working on the piece. So that's the beauty of, well, you know, yung being able to keep on working at the script, because then you can expand it really. And
Ngayon babaliktarin ko yung ano no, yung salamin. And so siguro baka magandang tanungin kayo kung ano yung ina-expect nyo, no? Eto, binigay nyo na yung script, tinanggap naman, naging excited si JK, si Chris, si Angeli. Ano yung ina-expect mong magiging proseso? No? Kasi the usual attitude, well, not usual, it's not really usual, but some of the attitudes of playwrights is, ayan na, bahala na kayo. Surprise me. No, so ano yung ina-expect ninyo na relationship with the director, with the actors, and with the whole production?
Pag ako po, pag nagsusulat ako or if it's a commission work, parang I see my script as a proposal pa lang eh. Parang I see my script as a proposal to those people there. Tas yun yung nakikita ko siya dapat as a collaborative process. Hindi ko sinasabi na yung script na nasulat ko ay Biblia na. Naniniwala ako na marami pa siyang gaps in between kasi isang tao lang naman ako na nagsusulat. So naniniwala ako na importante yung boses ng direktor at sana din kapag ginagawa na siya, titignan mo kung ano yung nag-work, parang I expect din na I'm also part of the process in terms of habang years yung actors kung may ma-contribute sila, yun nga, to clean it up, to improve, to argue din na why do you think yun, tas sige, i-try natin ilagay sa work. So, mas nakikita ko siya na sa first part, yun nga, open pa rin yung text, i-work on natin to with the help of the actors, the directors, the production designer. And then, only when siguro na-mount na siya or nabuo after the audience, dun natin masasabi kung i-improve pa yung work. So, I see the text or the script as a never-ending di man never ending, pero it's a process-driven kind of parang meaning making or art making.
I like that collaborative process with the director and with the actors, especially the actors. They will really anchor themselves on one particular character, whether it's their character that they're doing or they're just reading for that particular session. Ang dami ng tanong about saan nanggaling tong sinabi na to. Na really, mapapatanong din yung writer. And it could really change the whole script.
So, parang feeling mo nagde-defend ka ng thesis or something, ano ba yan?
Defend, pero you're open to
To suggestions and
suggestions.
ideas.
Yeah. So, minsan makikita mo from version 1 to version 8 or even to version 2, wala ka na ng nangyari. And
Oh.
it's all with trust na they're all contributing to make this a better work.
Kasi medyo ego-crushing din yun, ano? The fact na pinaghirapan mo to ng ilang buwan, etc. Tapos noon, pag binasa, ay, bakit ganun? Ganito, pwede mo natin palitan nito kasi hindi ko maintindihan yung mga ganun, di ba? So, kumbaga parang feeling mo, nandun yung there's something that you really have to set aside